Okay, I will play The Sims 2 in a moment, but today is February 4th, 2025. This is actually the day that back in Sims 1, well, this is actually The Sims, today of the release of The Sims 1 that came out back in February 4th, 2000. Back then, Sims 1 made a release in 2000 on February 4th, so this time today, over a decade ago, The Sims 2, or Sims 1, I should say, launched. That Sims 1 made a complete launch back then. Like, literally. Um, But, however, I wanted to explain something here. I have The Sims 2 Ultimate Collection, I do. LGR, known as Lazy Game Reviews. He himself has actually made a YouTube video explaining about the issues in the Sims 2 Ultimate Collection or the Sims 2 Legacy Collection on Steam. He has explained that the games run on Linux on the Steam Deck through Steam Proton just fine. They do now, but there's still a ton of issues. And I'll show you what those issues are with the Sims 2 Ultimate Collection as an example. I've got the game on my E8 app, but I'll show you the issues that he has had. Well, barely any issues. I've never had issues with Sims 2 Ultimate Collection, but I've seen issues with the game crashing unexpectedly for players. Basically, that's what's happening. That LGR demonstrated that The Sims 2 would crash when changing sim or when creating Sims, I should say. It's basically what LGR kind of demonstrating. But this is the game I got on the EA app right here. This is the EA app version. This. This shows the Fun with Pets collection right here. This game. This one. The one I've got is the EA app version you're seeing. The one that I have boxed that LGR has on Steam that he brought is the Sims Legacy or the Sims 1 Complete Collection. That's the version that EA managed to repackage. EA took the Sims 1 and made the Sims 1 Complete Collection based on the base game. They did. They made a digital version of it, but the problem is it's running terrible. It ain't running it ain't really like the original was like over a decade ago in the original box form. People used to have to pirate The Sims 1, The Sims 2. They used to have to pirate it online, but EA took out the legwork and reduced that by simply just providing the game for sale. So they took out all the extra legwork after to do that. They completely remediated that by re-releasing the game digitally. Now, I'm going to get in to find the link to where LGR made a video so I can take you to a GitHub webpage of the changes of it that have been documented. LGR made a good video on it. There's a GitHub page that explains everything. A GitHub. So I'll take you to the GitHub to show the differences on the GitHub, like the overview of it. I'll take you to a GitHub page online about what the changes are that have been documented. Hold on. And I'll explain what gives. I'll explain what gives. Give me just a sec. And I'll get to The Sims too, but I'll show you what has been changed. Here we are. This is it. Let me just make it so you can read it better, but this is what has been documented on a GitHub page. The technical overview of The Sims Legacy Collection and what's been changed and the issues of it that EA should have fixed before the game came out. Let me just zoom it in a bit so I can read what's going on. Let me put it over here. Let me just make the window size a bit larger so you can see it. But this is it. This is what it looks like. This goes to an EA website linked here, the differences. And I'll read what changed on the patch notes. There's also the current bug updates that you can visit the Sims franchise forums there, the Sims Legacy team. But they fixed some issues on February 4th, today. The issues are Alt-Tab or Alt-Enter can sometimes cause a crash. Alt-Enter can sometimes cause a Windows title bar to be hidden. Alt-Enter can sometimes not toggle between full screen and windowed modes. On some systems, the Sims can appear to launch and then immediately exit with a splash screen displayed. The Sims should now launch in most situations. In some cases where there's an underlying graphics issue, the Sims will display a message. Some players are unable to click on various parts of the neighborhood map. The travel screen when traveling between the neighborhood's world sometimes appear garbled or glitched. The Sims might crash if you're not on the default neighborhood, interact with another Sim and then save. When using Alt-Enter to cycle between window and zoom sizes, the HUD could be clipped. At this zoom level, the Sims will now instead clip from the top of the screen. In some situations in windowed mode, the title bar might not be visible. The family and friends counter could sometimes not be visible. The Sims general note. Several players had problems. Example given: walls, floors, objects not showing up, game not launching, other oddities that are addressed by updating your graphics driver's latest versions. Please make sure your graphics drivers are up to date. The Sims game window is of a fixed size that can't have its basic properties changed after its launch. Moving the window from a monitor to another with a different lesser resolution can lead to unexpected results, possibly even crashes. If you want to run The Sims on the second monitor, please use the option monitor:"num" to force it to launch on the other monitor. Monitor 0 is your primary monitor, and a second monitor is 1, and so on. We're investigating adding this as a menu option in the future. In some situations, players have noted that the music only plays in live mode. Please check your computer's sound options and make sure everything is properly configured. Example given on a 5.1 surround sound system. Make sure that your center speaker is functioning. You might be prompted to enable a help system every time you return to the house. This is a game trying to have you complete the tutorial. This will continue to happen until you complete the tutorial. The Sims 2 fixed issues. Alt-Tab or Alt-Enter contains cause a crash. Some players in the EA app received an error message indicating that certain needed files are corrupt. The game sometimes would crash after creating a family. The game sometimes launched at a small resolution of 800 by 600 and scaled that small format to fill the entire monitor. In certain situations, the game will launch and then immediately show a DirectX error requiring the use of the -W option to work around the problem. Sometimes a sim or multiple sims would disappear after the player moves to another lot or neighborhood, or after leaving and rejoining the game despite saving. Sometimes non-adult sims, children, pets would disappear. Some interactions that result in a chance for reward, example, a dog returns from work, can cause the game to crash. Address some infinite loading screen issues. The Sims 2 general notes. Several players have had problems addressed by updating the graphics drivers to the latest versions. Please make sure your drivers are up to date. At least EA acknowledges the bullprop testing cheats enabled. They at least acknowledge this right here. They acknowledge that now. Now they do. A decade ago, when they made The Sims 2, they did not acknowledge that this was still in the game. But now they do a decade later. Remember that the bullprop testing cheats enabled cheat will cause the game to periodically show various dialog boxes with debugging information in them. This cheat is working as expected. We are investigating an issue where during certain cinematic events such as alien abduction, the sim can be reset and an event fails. While we are investigating this, you can work around the issue by making certain there are no other sims unlocked to observe the event. While some issues may not be listed here, they may still be in the process of being addressed. Some topics can require initial extended investigation on our end, so even though these fixes may be in active review, it's not a guarantee that we'll have the immediate fix for them in an upcoming patch. Thank you for playing these games that are such a storied part of our history starting 25 years ago. Please continue to share and report any issues on the forums and join our official Discord community for tips, tricks, and news. Dag, the Sims team. So at least EA is getting around to fixing the problems that people are giving feedback of the game's malfunctioning after the day one launch. So EA is finally getting around to fixing the issues later, to February 4th. Here we go. Here's the forums. This is the forum. This is using Vulkan. It's using DXVK, DirectX Vulkan. It's using Vulkan. Vulkan is the back-end renderer for the Sims 1 Legacy Collection re-release. One person posted 11 minutes ago that the Sims Legacy Collection crashed as I was trying to look at the community lots in Old Town. So people are complaining about the games crashing excessively. And EA is getting around to it, but they're saying that it's Vulkan. Vulkan is just a graphics API that is used primarily on modern computers. I'll explain what Vulkan is. Hold on. I'll explain what Vulkan really does behind the scenes. This is what Vulkan is right here. This is Vulkan, a graphics API that is used. I'll explain what it is. Vulkan is a low overhead cross-platform API and open standard for 3D graphics and computing. It was intended to address the shortcomings of OpenGL and allow developers more control with the GPU. It is designed to support a wide variety of GPUs, CPUs, and operating systems, and is also designed to work with modern multi-core CPUs. OpenGL is just open graphics library. This is in Linux and directly in Windows, so to speak. OpenGL has been shipped in Windows 98, so to speak. Let's see. It's mostly in Linux, but I may have seen a little bit appear in Windows 98. Might have. So Windows, or not Windows 98, or Vulkan came out as well, but Vulkan is the successor of OpenGL. OpenGL launched on June 30th, 1992, 30 years ago. So down below in the info box is June 30th, 92, 32 years ago when OpenGL launched. Right there down below it. June 30th, 1992. That's what really, that's the TLDR of OpenGL. I'll read a little bit of it. OpenGL Open Graphics Library is a cross-language, cross-platform application programming interface API for rendering 2D and 3D vector graphics. The API is typically used to interact with a graphics processing unit, a GPU, to achieve hardware-accelerated rendering. This is developed by SGI Group, Silicon Graphics Inc., SGI. They developed it back a decade ago. It went defunct on May 11th, 2009. 15 years ago. So on May 11th, 09, Silicon Graphics Inc. went poof. They just vanished into thin air after that. They started in November 1981, November 9, 43 years ago. But they fell apart in summer of 2009. They completely collapsed then. So they went out of business back then. OpenCL is a open computing language that was originally offered by Apple Inc. That's a different thing called OpenCL, different than OpenGL. But this is primarily Vulkan. I'll read what it's designed to do. Vulkan is used on Nintendo Switch, Google Stadia, Tizen, Raspberry Pi, VxWorks, Harmony OS, OpenHarmony, Windows QNX, Fuchsia, BSD Unix, Android, all different things. Harmony OS is a OS developed by Huawei, of course, but it's a different story I won't get into. But this is Vulkan. Basically, Vulkan is used on AMD hardware, mainly that. Apple has its own API called Metal API, right here. Microsoft uses Direct3D or DirectX. See, Vulkan is used on AMD graphics hardware, Advanced Micro Devices Inc. This is the actual, this is like a graph of what it looks like. Of how Vulkan works on the back end between the CPU and GPU, how it works on the back end of that. Vulkan has advantages such as being cross-platform enabled. Nintendo Switch uses Vulkan, can use Vulkan. Molten VK is a different software library that is completely different. It allows Vulkan applications run on top of Metal on Apple's Mac OS, iOS, and tvOS. Stuff like that. Google Stadia was a cloud gaming service, but it went down. It went defunct directly in 2023. It went end of life. I remember Google Stadia. It launched on November 19th, 2019, but it was discontinued by January 18th, 2023. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 5 years. Google Stadia stayed around from 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. It stayed around for 5 years, but it didn't last long. It failed. It fell flat on its face. Here's how it is. Vulkan has a lower CPU usage. Vulkan reduces load on CPUs through the use of batching and other low-level optimizations, therefore reducing CPU workloads and leaving the CPU free to do more computation or rendering than otherwise would be possible. It also does precompiled shaders. There's other stuff in here too. Here are the differences between OpenGL versus Vulkan. One single global state machine for OpenGL. State is tied to a single context. Operations can be only executed sequentially. GPU memory and synchronization are usually hidden. Extensive error checking. Vulkan, object-based with no global state. All state concepts are localized to command buffer. Multi-threaded programming is possible. Explicit control over memory management and synchronization. Vulkan drivers do no error checking at runtime. There's a validation layer for developers. Vulkan came out at version 1.0 in 2016. Vulkan 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Version 1.4 launched in 2024, last year. Stuff like that. Lunar G is funded by Valve. Android has Vulkan in it since Android 7. Launched support for Vulkan on August 22nd, 2016. Android 8.0 Oreo has full support. Stuff like that. Really, it's used in AMD hardware. This is an example of Vulkan Info. There's Vulkan Info running on Linux. Running Vulkan Info -- summary shows a spinning cube right there. Okay, now that I'm back, here we are. Some chips, some computer processor chips don't support Vulkan very well. An example is Haswell, Intel Haswell, that does not support Vulkan very well. Ivy Bridge and Broadwell support legacy Vulkan, but newer processors do from Intel. AMD hardware supports Vulkan very well. AMD does. NVIDIA does work with NVIDIA, but there's a limited support for NVIDIA hardware. It says there on Windows and Linux, there is NVIDIA developed Vulkan driver which supports Vulkan 1.2 on Kepler cards only, with no further updates planned after September 2021. Maxwell and Vulkan 1.3, stuff like that. Apple has no native support for Vulkan products, for Vulkan API stuff, things like that. There is DXVK, DirectX Vulkan, a translation layer. There is some backwards compatibility variants of it, but DXVK launched in 2018 called DirectX Vulkan, a translation layer. There has been some controversies behind it. Here's one right here. The use of Wine DXVK has been associated with users getting banned from online gaming platforms because game publishers have no way of verifying game integrity for people using Linux. So DXVK has been causing people to get banned right there. The article right down there saying that the developers have no way of determining game integrity for people using Linux. So that's why if you use DirectX Vulkan, DXVK on a online multiplayer game on Linux that's natively a Windows online multiplayer game, there's a chance that you might get banned from it because of that. Because players using Linux to play Windows games that are massively multiplayer online, there's no way of telling that game publishers have no way of verifying the integrity for people using Linux, the game integrity. That's why. And that's why using DXVK is a really bad idea. Here's some patch notes of The Sims 2 I've already read. Documented. Already read here. Stuff like that. But here's some overview of it on here. On Sims 1 on the GitHub page. I'll post a link to the GitHub page you can read for yourself to see what's changed. I'll play Sims 2, but I won't be able to do Sims 1. I don't have the Sims 1. There in the GitHub link. Hang on. You go to the creator dashboard. I can see that my bit rate is unstable for some odd reason. So if there's any problems with the stream, I might jump to Xbox instead and stream from there if I'm experiencing issues on OBS. But anyway, here we go. Let me just get rid of the mic off portion of it. So let me just do that. So let me get back to here. Oh, here it is. This is the Sims 2 or the Sims Legacy Collection bundle right here. This is essentially it. There's tons of changes that are detailed what's here, but I'll read them. The Sims is a life simulation game that was written for Windows 9X, but later evolved to properly support Windows XP. The years have not been kind to the game engine and not the game itself. It's still great, it just doesn't really work anymore. I'll agree to exactly what's going on. The gifts will detail the changes I've noticed in the Sims Legacy Collection, a Windows 10, Windows 11 re-release of The Sims recently published on Steam, Epic Games Store, and the EA app. I'll start by giving more context before going to what's changed. Here we go. it just says here the game is entirely played from an isometric viewpoint with 3D characters interacting with 2D sprites seamlessly. This is done via a neat trick. Nearly every sprite has an associated Z buffer sprite, which allows per pixel depth sorting between objects and characters to seamlessly integrate them into the world. All sprites also have an alpha channel, which allows them to appear anti-aliased and semi-transparent. This does mean that they have to be sorted, which sometimes goes wrong, but gives a pretty clean image. The game's large sprites are contained within a minimal amount of memory via a combination of run length encoding and 256 color palettes. This may get long and technically lengthy. Bear with me. It'll make sense all in the end. Alpha channels have separate RLE, which is great for large objects where the only alpha pixels are on their edge. Large objects take up more than one tile or split up into single tile parts, each taking up one tile. The renderer needs to avoid introducing scenes between the single tile parts or the illusion would be broken. Without that way, let's go over the problems of the game. Collection O. The Sims can be launched either in an 800 by 600 or 1024 by 768 resolution from a shortcut, which passes the -R, which is resolution 1024 to 768 flag as an argument to launch in the larger resolution. For anything else, you'd need to mod the game in UI graphics. You can find the information on how to do this alongside other fixes on the PC Gaming Wiki. Here, I'll show you. This is it. This is the article of The Sims on PC Gaming Wiki that explains everything you need to know. Oops. Here we are. This is it. It says that the Mac OS X version of this game does not work on Mac OS X Lion version 10.7 or later due to the removal of the support for PowerPC apps. This is it. This is the game that was re-released on classic Mac and Mac OS X and on Linux as well at one point. Oh, that's just great. The window is cut off. Oops. Let me rearrange that. So I'll basically explain what the big deal is. This is the Sims engine that is used in two games. The Sims and The Sims Online are known as TSO. The Sims Online was a game that came back out in 2003 right here, but this game required a subscription. This one's a monetized online subscription game. It was a short-lived failed spin-off. This launched in 2002. The Sims Online, originally known as EA Land, that came out from March 2007 to August 2008, but the game's official servers were shut down on August 1st, 2008. FreeSo allowed the game to be played on unofficial servers until it shut down on December 9th, 2024. However, its GitHub repository was set up for future use by the community. So FreeSo, the game's spin-off, is actually dead. Yep, FreeSo is dead. So we can't go to FreeSo because it is dead. Yep, freeso.org is out. That's gone. So there you go. The game is not available digitally anymore. So The Sims Online, or TSO, is still long dead. FreeSo, known as Free Sims Online, is also dead. It died off too. But this is pretty much the game that EA re-released a decade later on Steam, Epic Games, and the EA app. I'll show you the different varies of Sims game, the different variations of it. This is the Sims 1 that would run on Mac OS X Lion or Mac OS X versions 11, Mac OS X version 9 and below, but version 10.7 or later removed the support of PowerPC apps, so you wouldn't be able to play this on a classic Macintosh. I would, because I have a classic Macintosh or a classic Mac Mini in my closet, a Mac Mini from 2005 in my closet here that allows the running of PowerPC apps on it. But the Intel Macs remove support for PowerPC apps on later versions. Here it is. The game uses Safe Disk versions 1 and 2 DRM. Disk check requires latest expansion installed. Some base releases have an additional disk with a digital manual. Legacy Collection also available as part of the 25th birthday bundle that is available with EA Play Pro. This right here is called an early release of The Sims on Linux was included in the Mandrake Linux Gaming Edition package, released in 2001 exclusively for that distribution. This page covers the 2003 Trans Gaming release, released for all Linux distributions, called Mandrake Linux, known as Mandrake Linux Gaming Edition. So this was released on Linux through that, right there. There are different versions. The deluxe edition includes a Live Large expansion, base game, The Sims Creator, there's skinning tool and exclusive content. Double Deluxe is the base game, Live Large House Party, and The Sims Creator. Mega Deluxe includes the base game, Live Large House Party Hot Date. The complete collection includes all 7 expansions in the base game. Legacy Collection includes the base game and all 7 expansions and is configured for compatibility with Windows 10 and 11, and additionally grants The Sims 4 with the Throwback Fit Pack. The separate Sims Creator application is not included. This version also has following changes applied: an updated rendering engine, a more versatile pixel resolution scaling, and large monitors. Stuff like that. Hot Date requires House Party to install. So there's a dependency issue. Hot Date requires the House Party pack to be installed. Living Large, known as Living It Up in Europe. Here it is. In Europe, it is released as On Holiday in the Republic of Ireland and the UK, although the installers should refer to it as Vacation. Stuff like that. So there are mods you can use to patch the game, fixes to patch and modify it, but none of these are guaranteed to work. The configuration files are encrypted. Ouch. It says here, game saves are in the form of neighborhoods instead of single households. Save folders are numbered. The first neighborhood is numberless. Initial setting up of new neighborhoods and households may take several minutes, even with higher end machines. It takes longer when more expansion packs are installed. In The Sims Legacy Collection, the character detail is removed, is missing. Okay, here we go. So this is pretty much what I'm talking about. This is the game that can be played in a higher resolution after a patch is applied. But without any patches, there will be a blue border around it right here. This has a blue border around it when played in a higher resolution than the recommended. So there are a lot of different things that are going to be a little bit of a problem to some players that experience crashing. There are ways to fix issues when installing The Sims on a computer. Different issues. Like ways to resolve troubleshooting problems. Legacy Collection supports Vulkan. OpenGL is 1, macOS only, Direct3D is 6 supported. There's mods you can install. Mac were created by Maxis. Sims Show, Facelift, Homecrafter, a lot of different things, like mods. Hang on. This is The Sims 2. We're looking at The Sims 2 right here. This is the game that got a modern re-release known as Sims 2 Legacy Collection. This is the original base game from 2004. From September 14th, 2004. That was when the game came out. I cannot name all of these characters. I don't know who they are. I don't. They're just random Sims in the box art. I can't. But this right here is actually September 14th is when the original game launched. The Mac OS X port was launched in June 2005. So a year later in 2005, Mac OS X got a port of the game by June 2005. September 2004, this came out on Windows first. Stuff like that. That's the game I got running in the background right now, but here's what LGR was talking about. This game uses SafeDisk DRM, known as SafeDisk. Later expansions use SecuROM 7 and SecuROM Product Activation DRM. Later expansions use version 4 SecuROM 7 and SecuROM Product Activation. But SafeDisk is a DRM used to prevent copying of games. This is DRM right here. The battle digital rights management that really kicks people in the butt to prevent copying. SafeDisk ended in 2009. It's not supported since Windows 10. It says here, nor previous versions of Windows with the KB 3086 2055 However, it might expose the system to known security vulnerabilities, making it more susceptible to malicious attacks. Ring Protect is an odd DRM as well. The different DRMs that PC games use, while Ring Protect is a parasitic circle on the underside of the disk. The sectors within that circle contain data which is difficult to copy. That is used to prevent copying a game disk. Protect Disk is somewhat similar. Protection for games distributed optical disks. This one is disk duplication and make cracking more difficult, often used for protecting the disk. Mainly used in games made by German developers or adapted from the German-speaking market. It does not require a driver that uses a computer with all relevant data found in the disk itself. Protect Disk is another disk check protect DRM that prevents copying. There's Laser Lock, which was used for retro games, or Laser Lock. Protection for the games distributed via optical disk, same thing as other protection DRMs. It's achieved by combining files in the hidden Laser Lock directory and modified laser marking during the disk manufacturing process known as Laser Lock. The EA app is actually another form of DRM that's always online. Steamworks, it says here, same as with Steamworks, the EA app provides a basic DRM wrapper and solution that protects against extremely casual piracy. An additional anti-tamper protection, usually Denuvo anti-tamper, might be used to strengthen the DRM of the EA app. There's Denuvo anti-tamper, which is looked down upon. Copy Lock is actually used, or as Code Lock. Same thing. Copy Lock is another, it's called Copy LOK, referred to as Code LOK. Not to be confused with the Copy Lock DRM used on Amiga games. Protection for the games distributed via optical disc, aiming to disallow disk duplication often used for checking the disk. Achieved by modified by laser beam recorder hardware during the disk manufacturing process. There's BattleNet, the BattleNet DRM. I'll read about BattleNet. Not to be confused with the multiplayer infrastructure of the same name. Contrary to most other store-specific DRM, games released on the BattleNet application are required to be launched with appropriate account information. Most games like Diablo 3 require a constant internet connection on top of the link to the BattleNet application to run. Others like StarCraft can be launched offline, but only if a recent enough offline token has been stored on the computer. There's Araxxin Anti-Tamper. Araxxin Anti-Tamper is shown right down below. Used to strengthen account-based DRM, example Microsoft Store, EA App, Steam, or Ubisoft Connect of a game, considered an alternative to Denuvo Anti-Tamper with similar functionality. App Control. App Control is another form of DRM, activation-based DRM. No longer functioning as of late 2022, and unactivated games require no CD patch to bypass the activation check or use the Starforce servers as a workaround. There's some physical DRM. PC Junior has a cartridge called PC Junior, which is a form of DRM to prevent copying. It just says requires a cartridge and a cartridge slot to play. There's a USB dongle. Eschew games may require USB decryption sticks, USB barcode scanners, or special purpose controllers to reach the proper gameplay. Dongles may require drivers and may in turn to fail and work on newer OS versions. Losing the USB dongle will cause the game to fail to start. There's a floppy check. Games which use a floppy check include Donkey Kong and Arkanoid. For a list of games, see games using floppy check DRM. Requires the floppy to be on the drive while the game is running, only found with DOS era games. There's physical games, physical DRM. known as code wheels or manuals. Many DOS-era-like games use a secret of Monkey Island utilize some form of physical DRM system. For a list of games to use games using physical DRM. A form of DRM that requires a random phrase or a code to be entered at some point in the game. The phrase code can only be found in physical materials or feelies provided with the game. Sometimes integrating to the actual gameplay is a puzzle, very difficult section. A defeated DRM system, most of the physical content can be found online for free. Digital releases of such games officially include scans of physical objects, code wheels, manuals, etc., which were used for the check. The phrase code usually needs to be entered in at every game launch or every new game. Cloud gaming. Another form of DRM, cloud gaming. Google Stadia is an example of cloud-based gaming. Google Stadia is long defunct. No game files are stored in the user's computer itself, and instead the game is run on a rig set up by the service provider and a video and audio stream to the player over the internet. Any loss of connection will boot the player out of the game after a predetermined length of downtime. No files are accessible to the player. Players lose access to the game once the service has gone defunct, such as in the case of Stadia, unless if the publisher offers refunds or some other way for the player to access the game. Always online. I'll turn down the background music just a tad. Games that require constant internet connection like Diablo 3. Some games like RDR2 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 and Dota 2 and Source 1 engine only require internet connection each time they are launched. Those games currently don't fit in the always online category. To play the game, the user must remain connected to the internet for an entirety of the session. Any loss of connection will boot the player out of the game after a predetermined length of downtime. Game files may be consistently downloaded from the publisher server in an attempt to reduce piracy. Example given, Silent Hunter 5 pre-patch. If the entire game is stored server-side, it is known as cloud gaming. Account-based. Here we go. Services such as Steam and the EA app are examples of account-based DRM. Once a game is purchased or redeemed, the copy is tied to a specific email address or account and therefore requires online product activation. These services often allow unlimited product activations. An account can be only used anyone else. Games can never be unbound from users' account, meaning they cannot be given away, lent, traded, or sold. Activation limit. Games that set activation limit include Mirror's Edge, Crysis, and Spore. Always used in conjunction with online activation, a limit is placed on the number of times a game can be installed simultaneously or independently. The most common limits are 3 or 5 activations. After this limit is reached, the user has to contact customer support in order to extend their limit and install their game again. Uninstalling the game may not free up an activation unless a specific deauthorization tool is provided. Called EA Games Authorization Management. This is the web page that EA talks about using to deactivate PC games using Securom or Solid Shield, DRM. This only works for a specific number of games. You have to download a deauthorization tool to deactivate most of these. I've actually had to do that in 2009 with The Sims 2 or The Sims 3. I had to use a deauthorization tool to deauthorize a computer from EA servers. Spore is one of the games. These are the Spore games that were controversial for the DRM anti-piracy that caused a lot of problems. Spore right here. These are the deauthorization tools that EA got into a lot of trouble over for the Spore game being pirated because EA stuck Securom in Spore and didn't tell nobody about it. And that's what caused EA to be sued back then. So here you go. Pogo games use product activation technology to prevent copying. It says here, some Pogo games use product activation technology. Product activation is a solution to authorize your legitimate application at an online product activation server. This process ties a unique license to the machine you're using. Usually this only required at first launch of the application. Deauthorization is the process of giving back a used license to the product activation server. The precondition to successfully deauthorize is if the game was authorized on the PC before and the license stored in the registry is intact. Example, your application's got a limit of 5 simultaneous activations. After an online activation on the product activation server, the application will be used on this PC and 4 activations are left for this serial number. In the case of the active license is revoked, the application cannot be used on this PC any longer until a new online activation, leaving 5 activations for this authorization key to be used on a different PC is. There are 2 methods. One is to uninstall the game, which triggers a deauthorization. Your license is given back. Command line instructions for technical persons. Call the application's executable with the perimeter /revoke. PopCap games have 5 simultaneous activations. So after one online activation, the application can be used on that computer, leaving 4 activations available for use on that computer, on other computers within your household. You have to visit the PopCap support site for more information on deactivating your application. Oh, no. Okay, here we are. I'm going to play The Sims 2 as promised, but I'm going to explain the DRM and the issues of digital rights management and why DRM sucks. It can go suck a nice big juicy carrot, to put it lightly. It says here online activation. Games which require online activation include Two Worlds and Earth 2160. Hold on. It just says requires an internet connection in order to notify the rights holder each time the game is installed. The downside, it says this is often paired with identifying information about the user's computer. The publisher can therefore track when the game was first installed, how many times it's been installed since. It is sometimes used in conjunction with a CD key and activation limit in order to restrict access to the product. Here is CD key. Right here, CD keys. There's games that use CD keys. I already have like The Sims, The Sims Deluxe Edition, and I have The Sims 2, or The Sims Life Stories, that use CD keys. I had to say that DRM can suck a nice big juicy carrot, a carrot, vegetable carrot, because DRM sucks. Like here, I'm going to show you an example of DRM. I've got two PC games. Let me see if I can cover up the serial. These two have to have serial keys. Otherwise, it won't install if you don't have the key. I just had to simply bash digital rights management because DRM sucks. Like DRM is terrible, a terrible bad idea. It's caused problems for legitimate customers in the past. It has serial keys or CD keys, also known as a serial product key. The game comes with a unique code, often printed in the manual or sticker inside the game case, or more commonly on the exterior of the case, which the user must input to complete installation. Some games, example given Empire Earth, require a key only for multiplayer access instead of the whole game. In this way, the installer can verify whether or not a game has been illegally copied. If an online activation is or if an activation is completed offline, then a single key has unlimited uses. Unlike physical DRM, these keys can be often found freely online. If a key activation is completed online, then a single key may be limited to a specific number of installations to see activation limit. Retail copies of games requiring Steam or the EA app, for example, include a CD key that is tied to an account and can never be reused. This is called Disk Check. This one. It says here, also known as CD DVD check, it is an older form of DRM becoming less common as PC gaming moves to. Game will not run without the appropriate CD or DVD being present in the disk drive in order to see the file only on the system detected. This is offered regardless of whether or not the entire game content is installed on the hard drive. Frequent use causes the disk decay over time, putting immediate risk of becoming unusable. Can additionally be combined with several methods. Dummy files. Inserting dummy files which point to segments of other files. Oversized. Lead out area on the disk is also used for the data, a method which cannot be replicated by most CDRW drives in the late 1990s. Present mostly in games on 659 megabyte, 74-minute CDR disks. Intentional disk errors, damaging the disk in production so that an error in reading a sector would confirm the game is legitimate. Those are examples of DRM. So some PC games have bad sectors deliberately put in the disk, that way the DRM can identify it. So the intentional disk errors are put there in production so that an error reading a sector would confirm that the game is okay, is legitimate from the legit disk. That's the thing there. Also, another game I didn't mention was The Sims Carnival Bumper Blast needs a serial key in order to install directly. This also needs the disk and the DVD drive to run. This is SimCity 3000. This game right here also has DRM. You need this disk and the drive at all times in order to run the game, as the game's music is pulled directly off the CD here. Basically, I'm saying that DRM That is DRM. I can give DRM the double middle fingers because it sucks. It's terrible. Like DRM has been a nightmare since the late 1980s, 1990s. It's been over more than a decade of problem for people. People that try to play a game legitimately have ran into DRM issues where the digital rights management system bing, can lock you out and stop you from playing a game. So basically, I actually encountered a bit of DRM backfire. The EA app earlier back last week or the week before, I tried to log in to play Sims 2. I tried to stream the other Tuesday back in January, but the problem is the Sims 2 could not be played. Well, could be played offline, but the EA app would refuse to connect to the EA servers, and the EA app acted like as if I don't own the game. It acted like as if I don't even own it at the time that EA app was having problems. So that's an example of DRM going horribly, horribly wrong. Very wrong. DRM free. It says here DRM free means a game is shipped without any technical restrictions on how it's installed, copied, or activated. Once a DRM free game has been bought or downloaded, it can be installed on any computer and copied freely between machines with no activation limits. Some DRM free titles might require the use of DRM to access or enable online based features. Although no technical restrictions are in place with DRM free titles, formal restrictions specified in the license may still apply. There's the Zoom platform at itch.io, Gamersgate, Epic Game Store, Humble Store, Steam, DRM free, GOG included. Here's the Zoom platform. Zoom platform is launched by the Jordan Freeman Group back in September 9th, 2014. It was launched in 2014 in fall. Let me just zoom out just a tad. But these are all the digital stores: Amazon, Battle, Bethesda, Discord, EA App, Epic Games, Fireflower, Gamersgate, Games for Windows Live, formerly Games for Windows Live, or GFWL, GFWL, Games Planet, GOG, Greenman Gaming, Humble Store, Itch, Cartridge, Mac App Store, Metastore, Microsoft, Rockstar, Steam, Ubisoft, Vport, Zoom Platform. Those are all the retail storefronts where you can buy PC games. All the storefronts right here. These are all the digital storefronts where you can buy your games from each one, respectively. The Zoom platform automatically was created by the Jordan Freeman Group. It's not to be confused to this. It's not to be confused with the similarly named Zoom video conferencing application. Zoom platform distributes DRM-free games on its platform with stress on keeping them compatible with modern-day systems, similar to GOG. It says since January 1st of last year, ebooks have also been sold starting with the Bond of the Millennium and the Golden Games of Bond published by Wolfram Books. On October 8th of last year, the company announced Zoom Platform.sh, a tool meant for streamlining installation, updating, and playing the store's Windows games on Linux. It is based on Umu and Proton, called Zoom Platform, made by the Jordan Freeman Group, similar to it. This is Gamersgate. Gamersgate launched in 2006. The downside of Gamersgate is game installation requires internet access for even games sold as DRM free. Ouch. Called Gamersgate. It says that similar to Steam, games and activation keys are sold through the storefront or region locked to a specific country and region where they are purchased. Do note that acquisition methods for a game can be changed by the publisher after the user had already purchased the game, as it had happened where some game downloads were replaced with Steam keys. Multiple games are also region locked for purchase in Latin America. Gamersgate was launched in 2006, called Gamersgate. Gamersgate is still around. It's a Swedish company that does video game store sales called Gamersgate. It was conceived by Paradox Interactive in 2004. Paradox Interactive AB, a Swedish company. So Paradox Interactive's subsidiary is Gamersgate, as like the spin-off of it. Paradox Interactive. So Paradox Interactive launched Gamersgate back in 2006, 19 years ago. It is client free, but since Gamersgate initially required a software client for its customers to download their purchased games, but on the 28th of January 2009, the company began allowing customers to download games through a micro download without the client. Under this system, every game is associated with a small corresponding program when downloaded will retrieve the install files to the customer's computer. Upon retrieval, the user installs the game and may then remove the download from the computer. The CEO, Theo Bergquist, has touted the client-less feature of the Gamersgate as a way to distinguish it from the more dominant video game distribution platforms like Valve's Steam. There's downloadable content and developer tools there too. DRM free. Some games use always on DRM or always online that requires a persistent internet connection to verify the game, which is quite annoying. In case your internet connection goes poof, if your internet connection just drops out on you, it'll boot you out of the game or cause trouble. That's essentially Gamersgate. Gamersgate DRM or Gamersgate client program. Humble Store is actually DRM free. The Humble Bundle library is only accessible when logged in. It contains all the user's games purchased through the service. There's Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle actually works differently than Steam and other platforms. The Humble Bundle store is a digital distribution storefront operated by the team behind Humble Bundle. Unlike Humble Bundle, where users must buy a bundle containing few select games in it, Humble Store allows users to purchase a single game and DLC. Games purchased through Humble Store are available as either direct download or activation keys for other platforms such as Steam and Epic Game Store. Thank you for that, Miss Gaming. So this is pretty much the whole thing about digital rights management. I'm not against DRM. Just DRM just gives you a punch in the face when you don't use it. Like when you use digital rights management, you get hurt by it. Like I've gotten hurt by DRM on multiple occasions. I've been kicked in the butt by it. It's not fun. Like I've already mentioned the EA app breaking on me earlier back in January when I tried to play Sims 2. That broke. Like it broke. I couldn't play Sims 2 for an entire day this time today a few weeks ago. The EA app was out. Like that's the big thing there. Like Humble, I like the Humble Store. I do because it's DRM free. I have an account on Humble Store. Most of the games I got on there just give me the Steam key I redeem on Steam, somewhat. But the only problem is with Humble Store is they don't disclose if the keys are region locked or not. They do not. That's what the problem is. There were some issues at first. One is order canceled. Be right back. I'm back, and here we go. This is Humble Bundle. This is the store that I was talking about earlier, but Humble Bundle itself has had an issue where if you cancel an order, it says that this can occur when purchasing more than three of the same game or bundle using the same payment method. It appears to be an anti-fraud measure. That's what that is. Stuff like that. Anti-fraud measures are implemented, such as ordered canceled, as an anti-fraud detection to detect abuse of it. That's pretty much a nutshell of DRM and the issues of The Sims and why I think the Sims series is a nice game and all, but it's got some issues, especially with the EA re-release. This is the Sims Castaway stories that never really came to light, only in retail back in 2008. I was in high school when these games launched, back in 2007, a decade ago. Back in '07, these games came out. So I was actually in high school and these three games have launched. These were primarily designed to be run on older end computers, like slower machines, called the Sim Stories. I have one of the games right here. I have the Sims Life Stories right here. This game right here is what I've got. Right there. I have this. Please note that if I had Opera installed, it would have ad block to block ads on a website since it is a Chromium-based browser. But note that Opera browser with ad block tends to get in the way of websites that detect when ads are being blocked. That. But this is the game that was designed for old machines. The Mac OS X version will not work on Mac OS Catalina version 10.15 and up due to removal of support for 32-bit only apps. So Mac OS Catalina will not support a game like that. This uses a slightly modified of the Sims 2 version, or the Sims 2 engine, a slightly modified version of it that's been slightly tweaked to make it run on old laptops. I have the game. The in-game graphic settings looks just as similar to the Sims 2 one, but note right here that you've got a battery indicator icon right there on the bottom right. That's only present in the Sims stories, not present in the regular Sims 2. Not present there. These are just explanations on PC Game Wiki on how to fix PC games to run correctly on modern machines, stuff like that. But in the Sims Legacy Collection on the GitHub page, the battery icon is to document how much battery charge you have left in the Sims life stories in the game itself. Hang on. It's in this. The battery icon is present only in life stories in the Sims story series. Right here. I have the game. It's completely different. In order to play it, I'd have to plug in my DVD optical drive or to install the game and play it. Put these two together, but the computer has no optical drive to play it. So I have to do that. I won't show you any differences of the two because the differences are a bit obvious, but I've already shown this on stream before. This has no fears system in it. The fears in this game are absent in the Sims life stories in this version of the game. Stuff like that. The in-game sim limit has been capped to 4 sims per lock. I'll show you that too. Let me just get it plugged into my laptop without an optical drive. And I will show you what I mean by installing the game live and you'll see what I mean. It is 2 GB game on DVD. It is not a very large game at all. So let me just open up the optical drive, the slimline version, pop it out. You'll see what I mean. I have an optical drive I got off Amazon, quite frankly. These optical drives, I have an LG one I brought long ago that works well, but obviously optical drives are few far between nowadays. They're hard to find. Okay, it's saying Sims L Life Stories. We hit install. This game uses SafeDisk DRM, which is quite old, quite the contrary. I'll get back to this a little later. The differences in the two. There's a lot to read there, but let me close it. Let me put you to Sims 2, the game that is intended to be shown. Here. This is it. This is the game I'm going to play now. This, but I will be loading on the Sims Life Stories version. Let me just load it on. Hold on while I load it. The game's paused at the moment, but let me show you something I will show you that I won't show anywhere else too much. I wish I could show you here's a Sims Life Stories code window. This is what you'll see when you install The Sims 2 or Life Stories or any similar game. You have to put the code in these boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes here. I want to show you before I type the code in where to put it in that right there. If you put the code in wrong, it won't work. If you put the code in right, the installer will continue. That's what EA used to do with codes to ensure the game installs legitimately. Let me just swap it back to the other one. Let me just resize it. Let me just fit this properly. Whoops, wrong window. This is the color window. The black and white window is on Window Capture 2 for colorblind. So I have two separate color windows. One that is colorblind and one that is regular color. So I have a bit of both enabled. So let me just swap the two around a bit. Let me just simply shrink it down and expand this one. I provided two of them. That way you can see both what they look like with and without color enhancements. I'll put the regular one right there. And I'll put the colorblind version up top. A bit of both, like a picture in picture. So what you see on the lower one below me down there is the one you'll see right there, the same one, just a different color filter is used for the differences. Anything shown in green will be black. Anything in green is black. Anything that is in red will be, anything that's red and gold will be not shown the regular color. It'll show in black. But I put that version so you can see the differences in the two. Let me just type in the serial key for the Sims Life Stories to get its installation underway. Otherwise, it won't install without me putting the code in. Let me just do that now. Hang on. I put in the serial key for the Sims Life Stories just now, and now the installer will continue after it sees the correct key's been entered. Hang on. Don't worry, when the game finishes its installation, I'll have The Sims Life Stories running in a separate window on a different source. What you're hearing right now is the EA installer thing. I forgot to turn up desktop audio. Oops. But this is the EA reg window. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the EA register window that would be common on Sims 2 and some EA games that would pop up. This is what you would use to register the game over the internet with EA servers. So if you hit register now, it's contacting EA. The servers are long down, so it won't work. But this is what you would use to register it over the internet while installing an EA game like Sims 2 or anything similar to it. This is called EA Reg, the EA register tool. It won't work because their servers are permanently offline. So we'll just hit register later. I can't show you that part because the fact that the EA register servers are long gone. I can't show you it. So here are the two screens, the color standard and the color format. I added those two on. Those are just deliberately put there so you can see what I'm talking about. The reason why I did this is because people who have color deficiency issues in their eyes can't see all colors, cannot, making it difficult for people to see what colors are there in person. But here we are. Notice that The Sims 2 has glaring differences. Sims 2's got a 3D camera that you can actually use to rotate up, down, left, right in any direction. You can tilt it upward, tilt up, down, left, right, zoom in, and zoom out functions. Hitting tab will let you move the camera around and look around as well. Stuff like that. For people that have issues seeing color, there will be a colorblind version up top right here, like at the top left, for people that are not color impaired. There's the regular version down below. So let's do this. She is Edith Calker. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she's already done her homework. Now we've got to do Caitlin to get her homework done. Otherwise, she won't be able to graduate college with passing grades. Otherwise, she'd be in trouble for that. See, sometimes Sims will look at the camera. They'll sometimes look at the camera directly as the fourth wall sometimes. They sometimes do that. So they're doing their homework. So let me fast forward the time a bit. And you will continue. I'm currently installing The Sims Life Stories in the background. I have The Sims 3, I do. Uh, Stuff like that. I have played Sims 3 before, a little bit more than Sims 2, but Sims 2 holds a place in my heart because I remember getting Sims 2 in 2004, brand new at the time of the release of the game. I did get the Sims Deluxe Edition back in 2005, brand new at a book fair at my local middle school when I was in school at the time. And that's how I got into The Sims itself back then. Let's see what she's up to. More homework. I'll have him do his assignment. This is Mr. Humble's computer, Rod Humble. Rod Humble drops a computer off on the lot when played for the first time. So you're going to see a colorblind mode at the top right, or top left, I should say, sorry. Top left, down below me, below my webcam overlay input or video capture, you'll see the regular version. Well, The Sims came out back in February 4th, 2000, back a decade ago. Will Wright thought of it, and that's what led to the game today. The game I know and love today. Pretty much. This is Sims 2, though. The reason why I'm showing Sims 2 instead of this game, The Sims, this game will not work on Windows 11 or Windows 10 ever. I've tried and it won't run. There is the Sims Legacy Collection on Steam, Epic, and the EA app based on this version of the game with all the expansions tied into it. But obviously, that game has had crashes. Electronic Arts is already aware of backlash complaints coming in to EA about the game crashing. Therefore, EA is listening with their ears wide open and fixing the problems that people report to them on. I'm waiting till after the game gets more patched and more stable enough to run. Then I may end up getting it on Christmas. But I might get it during Christmas Day or on my birthday of this year after it gets more stabilized. The Sims 1 can run on Linux, yes. Sims 2, I should say. Sims 2, as LGR demonstrated it on his Steam Deck. I remember when Sims 2 came out, the game caused all kinds of problems on Windows, literally, after, like, right around day one. The game had bugs and issues on day one, and EA released patches after that to fix those problems. But here's a little odd irregularity. The bullprop testing cheats enabled true command. EA acknowledges that a decade later. EA forgot to remove a bullprop testing cheats command a decade ago when working on Sims 2. But a decade later, EA acknowledges it directly. Now they do. They didn't be sure. So I'm going to launch Sims Life Stories and show you the differences between the two games. This might launch it in full screen mode. Hold on. I'm going to show Sims 2 and Sims Life Stories all at the same time. I'll still play this game, but I'm going to show you it. Oh, no, I forgot. The Sims Life Stories won't launch because it thinks Sims 2 is open. So it won't launch while Sims 2 is running. I can't show that game off because it says it's already running. So that must mean it's thinking Sims 2 is it, since it's based on the same game. Oops. Uh-oh. So I can't play Sims Life Stories while Sims 2 is running. It won't let me. That's a no. So, nope. Boing. So I guess I'll have to stick with Sims 2 for the time being, since you can't play Sims Life Stories and Sims 2 at the same time, since it's nearly the same game. It just won't let it happen. I wish Electronic Arts could have patched up the EA app version of the Sims 2 Ultimate Collection, this version of the game here, bring it in line with the Legacy Collection of the the Sims 2 Legacy version.
Nucci.
They bring it in line with that. But as of course, EA decided to re-release the game for sale as another quick cash grab attempt.
Voronkov.
Of course,
Yiplogu.
EA decided to do that. Don't know why, and I don't care why EA had to do that. But I will be sticking with The Sims all evening. It's a bit of a retro nostalgic throwback.
Sekoliko Mukla. Balukachuful Labanaki. Arugaduv. Achi. Alakado. Galas.
Jaja. Barako.
Shaluva.
That's the mail guy that delivers the mail, bills to be paid every few days.
Ah.
That's the mail employee. It's usually a male or female sim that delivers mail.
Boja.
Dajmiva. Mote mote.
Fog.
In Sims 2, it's 3D based. Sims 1 is 2D based. It's using a 2D engine. It's not 3D.
Please?
Sims 2 is actually one of my top #1 favorite games of all time. My top #1 favorite. Oh. I'll tell you how many hours I spent on Sims 2 alone and Sims 3. Let's see. I spent over 22 hours in The Sims Medieval. I spent more than 200 hours in The Sims 2 Ultimate Collection. Over 200 hours. That is how long I've spun in the game. I'm trying to view the properties of the game to see how long I've spun in it, how many hours I've played. So you get two versions. The colorblind version to the top left, or to the upper left of the stream, and then the lower right is the regular color version. So you're seeing two different versions. Or two different color versions, but from the same source. That's just an experimental idea, though. So the plumb bob up above is black. Anything green will show as black. Anything that's gold or red will not show as such. It'll show as all black. They're doing their classwork in order to pass the final exams with high grades. So almost complete. She's almost got her class performance meter to the top. High as she can get it. Caitlin's got class in an hour, so let's go now. Class, now.
Oh, vipiti level. Fueva. Level soup. Level. Oh, fuera de little food. Is he little? Hojimeka. Oh, hueva, debe ser. Uchitova.
Oh,
Don Gablash.
so obviously her final exam for Edith is coming up. They're not that far from their exam. Let me just fast forward the time a bit to shorten it time until their final exam kicks in. Exam. Let's go. Don't miss it, otherwise it will hurt. You're allowed to miss the final exam at least a minimum of once, but missing it twice can cause trouble. You put your sim in a world of hurt if you double skip the exam. So let's fast forward a bit. Let's speed the time through. Complete. She completed her exam, so now we've got more assignments to do. Otherwise, it's academic probation, and that's a bad thing. Double bad. Very bad. Really, really, really bad thing. They're playing kicky bag between each other. They're kicking the ball back and forth. Of course they are.
Please come on. Charles, come on. Come up.
Kidnap. Jigger Gador, gone.
Back down to Zango, Cookie.
Gone. Food Sinar.
Otis Bambo. Crab does a glance. Have that ding ding.
Ikut siya. Tumba. Tiba ko.
Malos.
Ano? Yes ko. Shala mo. Lami.
Sagamo. Shazgabo. Oh, tapla. Please ka ball.
Bola po. Pabagsak. Kuala chu.
Malos.
Shampapara, Bajampapa Diddy. Chapa Shada Bada, Chapa Shada Biddy.
Shazgabo.
Balaba, Jabadoo Babadoo.
They're playing kicky back together.
Oka placema.
She's got to do her assignments or go either the way she can get this bar to fill up is either going to class or doing the assignments or researching, whichever one of the three come first. So let's have her do research.
Sancho. Tumba.
He's literally engaged to Edith, so if he gets caught cheating, he's toast. Aloud. Boing, 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 boing. That is heard if a sim is caught doing cheating on one another.
Please ka ball. Deep leg game.
I can find out what a sim is attracted to. Watch. By using this hidden menu, you can see that pops up on screen, this hidden menu with a certain cheat enabled. Her autonomous gender preference is for females. Let's see what his are. Females for Talon. Talon car is gender preferences for females. Hers, Marsha's, is she-males. Let's find out what this one is. Let's find out what Caitlin is. Females. Let's find out what Edith's gender preferences are. Males. There you go. Oh, it's getting late for her, so it's 5 a.m., so she has to leave. So I'm having her research to build up that line, the line in the bar right there. Okay, I know about the losing enthusiasm pop up. I already know. They're popping up one by one. Okay, so I've gotten up to that. Now let's get her to do more. Let's get the other sim to do a little more research. They have to study their grades in college in order to pass the exams. Failing them will hurt. Failing to get the grade up will hurt them. I'll show you what happens by creating a sim and create a sim as a test example. I'm going to take you to create a sim. Lazy Game Reviews, or LGR, demonstrated why the Sims 2 the Sims 2 Legacy Collection would crash upon entering Create a Sim. I'll show you something. You'll see what I mean. If only I could edit that to make it look completely different. So we'll do this. I'll show you what happens if your sim misses final exams more than twice. What happens if they goof off. Let me just put another dorm in since there's no more dorms remaining. Apartments are not recommended. I want to know if I can move a sim to an apartment lot. Nope. I can't put them in a apartment lot. That won't work. So I guess that's a no. So let me grab a dorm. And I'll show you what I mean. You'll see what I mean. Okay, this is just a test demonstration of it. You just claim a door. Okay, I've got Demo Sim 1 as just an example of what happens if you miss the final exam.
Vada baby over ever dunk dunk dunk. Gerbits, gerbits.
He's just painting on the art. Painting on the art easel. So I'm going to put you on the Be Right Back screen while I get this to continue. While I can fast forward to the final exam part, and I'll show you what I mean. Be right back. I'm not going to make you sit here all through all this. So be right back. Okay, now that I'm back, I'm going to show you what happens when a sim misses an exam. They don't do well. This is what happens if they don't do well. Watch. You'll see. Final exam's in effect. So if I make my sim miss it, you'll see what happens. Being late or missing it will cause trouble. But watch what happens. Oof! Academic probation. Strike one. That's strike one already. So my sim gets academic probation as a strike one. Watch what happens if I make him miss again. Be right back afterward. So it takes 72 sim hours, 72 hours in game, which is under the equivalent of about 2 hours or 3 hours. But I'll be right back and show you what happens if he misses again. Okay, I'm going to take you back to show you what happens if the sim misses a final exam one more time. Here we go. Oh! Ouch! See, the sim just got booted from college. Just got banhammered. It says your demo just got expelled from college. Demo suffered a D- for the semester. Ouch! See, there you go. He got expelled from college for missing the exam twice. Wow, wow, wow. There you go. So as you can see, my sim missed college twice, and the third strike, or my sim missed college 2 times, missed the final exams once, twice. The third strike is expelled. So that's strike 3. So that explains it. What happens if you miss college or missed exams 3 times? You get banned from college. So, yes. So that's an example of what happens if you miss college, or if you don't do well college and you miss final exams 3 times. Like you missed it at least 2 times. The third time is expelled. So that was strike 3. That was the third strike. I thought I'd show you. Let me go back to Belladonna Cove real quick. So that's what happens if your sim misses a final exam and doesn't do well on it enough times. They get kicked out. So let's go back to college. So that's pretty much what happened. Let me just hide this window capture, the one up above, hide that one and pull this one into view. I just thought I'd show what happens if you missed a final exam too many times. You get kicked out. You get permanently banned from college and cannot return. But I'm enabling colorblind mode again because you can still see the game. Some colors will appear as black deliberately for colorblind mode. So some colors will show up as black or duller or darker or a dull color. Green will be black. White will also turn black as well. Gold will also appear black too. Red will also appear like a lighter color, like a lighter shade of red. So anything in red, the fears down below are red, but the red color won't show up as red. It'll just show up as like a light white, like a slightly lighter white color, a light shade of white. Anything yellow will show up as black. Anything of that nature. Anything that is bluish color will have a slightly duller shade of blue applied. That's pretty much the colorblind mode I created on my end.
They look nice.
Emily's got to do her homework, her classwork before she gets the academic probation. Bum bum bum. It's 5:17. So let me go eat dinner super quick, and I will be right back. Super quick. Okay, I'm back. I had me some white rice to eat for dinner. Let me just continue.
Katsu. Yamko. Travel ko to no shabog. Shumba. Shama. Yazako. Shalamo. Lamu. Yamko. Nashtoka. Nashukala. Ranu. Shamababa. Katsu. Mm-hmm. Travel ko to no shabog. Amona. Shama. Salamonu. Adorable. Yazako. Shalamo. Yamko. Lamu. Travel ko to no shabog. Relabo. Yamko. Amona. Shama. Yazako. Travel ko to no shabog. Lamu. Ana. Katsu. Jamuva. Shama. Yazako. Shalamo. Lamu. Adorable. Shako. Shamonu. Travelakotona Shabok. Ramona. Shama. Dachana. Yamko. Yazgo. Chalamo. Travelakotona Shabok. Ranu. Ramona. Shama. Verlost. Balombi wash.
Ela nice. Oh, Keshwa. Ooh.
Blamu. Velasco. Laftu.
Oh, Maloy.
Chico.
Hiyo. Oh, mamatay lang shish.
Korga. Blacko Jodasa.
Ooh. Oh.
Balombi wash. Tikoranza. Trish. Verlost.
Oh. Ooh.
Kaluji. Nafla Shumba.
Okay, so like it. Yes.
Chico.
It is sluggish.
Here we go.
Balombi wash. Two years ago, Chalamo,
Japu.
Samko,
Loga. Zorkadu. Romu.
Ravalakotona Shopo,
Falus. Shafi. Follow. Falu. Chus.
Sivalamano, Jamona Balatavala,
Japu.
Kachonda, Derval, Vilga.
Toma na dice. Toma. Oh. Oh.
Ravalakotona Shopo, lost. Years ago, Chalamo, Lamu, Ajamu.
I had rice. White rice is it.
Ravalakotona Shopo, Ramu, Gambo, Kocha, Dashdu, Vada baby, over Abadong, dong dong. Vada Sulagun, Vada Sulabrum, Vada baby, over Abadong, dong dong. Gerbit, Gerbit, oh, Gerbit. Yazako, Chalamo, Yamko. A clover, Nukashifala. Jamu. Ravalakotona Shabo. Lamu. Oh. Zavagocha. Kachonda, Dorval, Vilga. Rana Chu. Falana Chuga. Valacho. Dost.
Lakin.
Mogtustigaya.
Habalika?
Let's do them all.
Habalikachinova. Ole estika.
Rechinakosipo. Lakitostaya.
Yaka. Oh, Jahalahi. Numatika.
Poco chusima.
Zovalak. Bashut.
Sia. Leonosta.
Oh, Ketchapani.
Pocha dat sava.
Mogtustigaya.
Habalikachinova. Ole estika.
Rechinakosipo. Lakitostaya.
La Nuchima. Oh,
Shalomba.
Shalamonokovala. Patishto.
Nakostawato. Sia. Leonosta.
Oh, Ketchapani.
Listova.
Mucha.
Rechinakosipo.
Lakitostaya. Habalikachinova. Ole estika. Kitochta.
Mogtustigaya. Let's do them all.
Yaka. Oh, Jahalahi. Glabo.
Falafel. Saruba.
Nocha. Gadova. Pranti.
Lap Nova.
Gajala.
Vuklai.
Agatista.
Dina.
Oh, no chonkalachu.
Atila Kachona.
Clara.
Oh.
Shafos.
Savo.
Shipolokotita. Lokadojo.
Menakita.
Vlaku.
Sumbalako.
Jamosta.
Valamo.
Flashun. So. Crema vala. Chumba.
Papalatiko.
Yakotuku.
Lamanobola. Gava.
Nupliga. Lokavala.
Valamo. Statug.
Klamut. Bachud. Vlaku.
Skobola.
Jamosta. Flashun. Flash. Nukaluva.
Shombolo.
Flahun.
Luku.
Imbo.
Lika shomoda.
Kukacha. So.
sure.
Crema vala. Kashuni kovala. Lokavala. Wachabolaka. Silontriga. Limo vanaka. Nupliga. Shumi kuta bugala. Yipoka vromu. Shumba. Yorgala. Hishkovo no paketida. Kuflina.
Chifolokosha.
Norshtugola.
Hantuva.
Kimbo. Losta. Gola dudidia. Kaju. Machotsa puvka. Jamosta.
Kalachavadu.
Flashun?
Salacho. Kalamoski bor.
Oh no! Uh-oh. Busted. Got caught cheating. No. Oh. Busted. Out. Owie.
Shalagozo Wofla.
Right in front of Tom. Right in front of Tom. That didn't end well.
Motina Tadaga. Alamoski
Oh,
board.
get your behind
Shavanko.
Ouch.
Saba.
No, they're chatting, but one sim got caught cheating, and it ended in disaster.
Shamona.
It ended with the boing
Boing
oing 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 oing.
Shalandabo.
They call out a love sound effect. No, a love boing.
Salacho Kalamoski board.
Oh,
Tag floor.
it ended in disaster.
Lid cob.
Wow, wow, wow. Failure, failure.
Lag food, Valachob, Quavalasha, Muklabor. Skiveldad,
Wing.
Mitza, Labdo, Halacho, Lombadi. Flaboska, Snow Fort, Flidge Cob, Roblasu, Vaj Oja, Niveldad, Jajiga, Skibor, Shalatogi, La Mosca, Daganu, Diva,
Ouch.
Skiveldad, Jaloski Bor, Nash, Talafa Beach, Kolavom, Zala, Lid Cob, Hag Floor, Sakala Show, Borklavu, Vanoja, Name Show, La Ponchabu, Neepsor, Harb, Mitza, La Mosca, Vanuj, Shumpala Togi, Si, Forbi, Shava, Dagut, Lagsud, Valacho, Muklaborb, Labdo, Kalacho, Flombadij. Kalachavadu, Sambato, Alamoski, Klavanko, Orgalama, Shova Lid Cob, Roblasu, Shavu, Skiveldad, Jaloski, Shamona, Hikor, Shalandabo, Jiva Alamoski Bor. Schligo, Harb, Kila Mosca, Vanu,
Oh,
Labdo, Kalacho, Lombadi, Tag Florb, Sakalasho, Borklavub, Klavanko, Borgalama, Shova
of course I won't mention lol cows. Of course not. I won't really speak about too much about lol cows, but one person by the name of Wes Watson isn't really a lol cow. He's just some fitness guru that spent time behind bars. Wes Watson, known as WW or WW.
Shamona, Bosca, Sambata, Forbi,
I'll look up who's Wes Watson and explain briefly about Mr. Watson. A supposed claimed fitness guru that really spent time behind bars. Yes, he's not really a lolcow. Wes Watson isn't. He's just a person who spent time in prison and automatically made up time for it. Wes Watson. He is a guy that's a bit odd. He actually did some penitentiary time. Yeah, that. I was actually looking up to tell you more information briefly about Mr. Wes Watson. I'll read from a site called Medium.com. Okay. Wes Watson was an inmate in prison, but he became a multi-million-dollar fitness coach. And it says here, Wes Watson's stories from 10 years incarcerated to a multi-million-dollar fitness coach is truly amazing. That this is a man that spent 10 years locked up in a prison, an environment that completely destroys all of the will of a person. Regardless of what you were before entering, 10 years in prison usually sends a man spiraling in one of two directions: long-term permanent incarceration, or certain things due to other things, some combination of the two. But it says here, Wes Watson overcame this environment to emerge as a high-demand fitness coach, preaching the value of showing up every day. His core messages inspired millions to buy into his program. If I can do it locked up for 10 years, so you can with unlimited resources in comparison. So pretty much that. I'll read it. Medium.com requires an account to read the full story. But Wes Watson is a guy that is a fitness coach that used to serve time behind bars, but not anymore. What's interesting about Wes is that he used his time in solids. I gotta upgrade to read medium. I gotta upgrade to Premium Plus of Medium to read more. As far as I could read past that, I couldn't read no further than that. But that's pretty much the TLDR Wes Watson. He's just some person that decided to do fitness, but he used to be a prison inmate, and not much is known about him. The only YouTuber I can say that covered him was Saturated Content, or mainly Saturated Content covered him in more detail. But back to the game.
Skivelda Jaloskibor
Yamo.
Lidka Rablasu Shamub Talakva Beach Kolavam Zala Chandavu Klavanko Borgalama Shova Saba Lagsud Valachob Wavalasha Muklabo Tagflorb
That's all I can say about that.
Talakva Beach Kolavam Zala Chandavu Sambata
So that's pretty much Wes Watson in a nutshell.
Claim Chog La Panchabu Neepsor Kalacho Lambadi Hegozi Lachavadu Sabana Alamosi Tika Lidka Rablasu Shavu Shalanda Shalagozo Wofla Shalagozo Wofla Tarb Kila Moska Vanuj Claim Chug Flapanchabu Neepsor Talakavij Kolavam Zala Chandavu Moska Snow Forbi Harb Kila Moska Vanuj Labdo Kalacho Lambadi Talach Talakva Beach, Kolavam Zala Chandavu.
So pretty much, I easily detest Wes Watson because the way he is a bit of a person who's not a good person to be around, and his attitude. Oh!
Warby,
Something goes horribly bad. Oh. I heard that loud boing again.
Flidgecom, Roblasu, Shamu.
I heard that loud sound effect again. Oh, that's just great. Bring, 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 bring.
Verlost.
Bring, 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 bring.
Chamufi lala. Schligo. Who's Jobsu. Chiconas Garolo.
Bo?
Hamava?
Pekonovo, Stiva. Hogono? Kisano Goshti. Shots and a Flomo Sobo. Costona Bosta. Gonna Vosia.
Skalasco!
Bring, 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 bong.
Hobalati, la boca uski. Siwawa, Velaka Joka.
Winato, Yachona!
Oh, la lumzi.
Kitano, Potonos. Hilakono Rona Roshita.
Nicola Mopa de Bacascora.
Hashono. Kifto. Kifono Kubiza, Vacho, Faina Tawan.
Palo. Que bocho, cavatina bata.
Hinashi.
Velasco.
Hashono Tsifa te Kofitsa Nashti.
Go love.
It's home.
E che chico do balabatuko badam bam balababu. La motopola pimo koshita. Ramubika.
Pechono Kofitano Tsufa.
Oh, balava dude. Hokabachono fastitka. Ripolo bambalaka. Labuba.
Peshono Kofino Tiwaman.
Oh, shikono tovala. Nimo kashobala. Hokabash.
I think Tom better cool it a bit with Erica and Carolina Philippine as they got caught cheating. I think he'd better cool it a bit. Oops. Oi, oi, oi. Wow.
Verlost.
Hang on.
Oh, Kaluji.
Nash.
La lumsy gosh. Oh. Sula corn. Vada Sula brunk. Vada baby oga abba donk donk donk. Gerbit. 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 Vada Sula corn. Vada Sula brunk. Vada baby oba abba donk donk donk. Gerbit. Gerbit. Vo gerbit.
Că ci povolă mo.
Ah, Bachud.
Visto? Ci vo koshama.
Chukista. Great.
Kojo volomova.
Cucaccia. So, crema vana.
Kish dolovo koshaman. Galaporo. Granazza.
Llamo. Oh, llamo cosa.
No, gaja.
Failure. Going. Boing.
Lina kana sovala skova. Hallo? Mene. Hayim. Hege goya ma hezito kala gada niho. Hovel. Oh, catch up a honey. Hey, Labanova. Ivach oja nivala glafli lo shamano tugal. Shazlasti glamotuda. Shavla tikovala klazota vlija vaguni. Shava dagutiba. Shivalo, not gonna be found for Fremeniva.
Oh, Keshwa.
Mano. Livach oja nivala glafli.
Sonatitoro. Microphone.
Sambata. Rono super. Llamo. Cosa. Sambata. Rono super. Shavla. Tigajida. Shumpala togid. Si. Shavlasti glamotuda. Galomonaskona. Kona. Havolo? He's a mole. Hisha. Llamo. Cosa. Que vola. Hola. God, ya pa God.
Bada Sula Brunk. Bada baby oga abba donk donk donk. Gerbit. Gerbit.
Lami.
Bada Sula Brunk. Bada baby oga abba donk donk donk. Gerbit. Gerbit. Boom. Gerbit.
Ramala. Volamo. La pomana. La muva. Shi Bokatufa.
Kunisal.
Kachipo volamo. Volamini. Choja. Kishidlo, balavo no baka, choga, nipolo, sakato buv, tika.
Malaku.
So, Vastavika, Kashla, Jamuka,
Salamene. Porsche.
Kimbo. Hola, Mabuko.
Mochafa, Skobola,
Saruba.
Plakuta. Lahoj. Nupaluba.
Koja Voloma,
Kabul. La Costa.
Jambova Galabon,
Vada Sula Gorn, Vada Sula Brunk, Vada Baby Oga Abadonk Donk Donk, Gerbit, Gerbit, Gerbit. Vada Sula Gorn, Vada Sula Brunk, Vada Baby Oga Abadonk Donk. Blah.
Gada. Da.
Kufina.
Inkatala Porsche Teve. Mata Buble Loba. Qua.
Chkovala, Nubu, Kala. Oh.
Tapuna.
Oh, the Volomoko! Yola. Ah. Yasko? Kalamo. Leshinatav, Nebkopota, Matsi, Walama, Herbaloni, Matsi, Manakarabo, Lakadapova, Aya, Ugalakapula,
Quis Corsiva la Ka. Matita Shatova.
Kilabato, Kav, New Shot, New Lar, Balakavatonita, Ja, Porkavaliko, Blorgamali, Kapata Valamon, Acht. Morkati bolasa, gleshinatav, nebedu, askida, kavaloko, tin, chipo, la kotsi. Oh,
Oh.
Vishnu? Kichuko.
iporamala. He dolavoko shama.
Samosa boom.
Nope.
Clamuha! Yaglabu fashig. Kivaku! Ipsod. Aha, glad że nuva lafta vuka bolo.
Ouch.
Raha. Voila, organ goozle. Oh, oh, Borskov. Oh. Kiki. Monica. Majikan. Oh. Oh. Labanova. Ah. Majeko. Chamogo dubu. Yipso, Klanatu Wampal, Lupa Ragunadash, Kabanakoski. Mushi. Ah, Polavo. Oh, Abushutu. Abushutu. Shoza.
Nope.
Flagajamo, Sambata. Oh, no control. Tank. Hey, Glaru.
Yes, Sims can become witches and warlocks even when in college. Yes, they can.
Wormja. Raha. Erblin.
Oh. Oh.
Meshu. Jiva. Jiva. What? Mefula. Oh, oh. Oh. Grisho.
It's a college dorm.
Juba. Chalane. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. Shubi. Shubi. Oh. Molly. Molly. Ah. Mushibu. Ah. Oh. Dove.
College dorms have cafeterias in them.
Well then, Bosco.
I've been going for about 3 hours, so I'm going to rate out. How about let's do a bear pair. Click, click,